In this video tutorial, I'm going to look at how to complete the important information section in the report builder. This is the last in a series of 9 videos that walk you through the process of creating a report from start to finish. So, if you haven't already done so, you may want to watch the previous videos in the series before watching this one, as this picks up from where the last one left off. Before we start, it is worth bearing in mind that there are a number of different report types in Genovo, and not all steps are included in all report types. We've created a handy resource called the Summary of Wizard Section Steps Matrix to help with your understanding of this, and it can be accessed via this link within the report builder. It provides a summary of the steps you will find in each wizard section for the different report types. The first step of the important information section is advisor remuneration. This step has been designed to allow you to provide the client with a high-level overview of the remuneration you will receive for the advice and service provided. However, I would highlight that you are also prompted to include any advisor charges associated with a plan in the plan charges step of the various recommendation sections. Therefore, you may feel that the inclusion of this information here in addition to the plan charges table results in an unnecessary duplication in your report and creates the impression that 2 sets of advisor remuneration are being charged. If this is the case, simply leave this step blank, and the cost of advice and services snippet won't be included in your report. If you do wish to complete this step, it could be the case that you are receiving different types of remuneration for the different types of advice you are providing, and therefore you are able to add as many rows into the table as you require. If you are only receiving a recurring remuneration, leave the initial remuneration fields blank, and the initial remuneration columns won't be included in the table that's inserted into your report. There is also a text box at the bottom of the page where you can provide any additional information about how you are being remunerated. If you'd prefer to include details of how you are being remunerated as a narrative rather than in tabular format, then just leave the table blank and include your wording in this text box. To move on to the next step, click the Next Step button at the bottom of the page. This also acts as an autosave and saves all the data you've entered into the section up to that point. The Service Propositions and Reviews step only appears in the suitability report. It allows you to clarify the level of service you have agreed with your client. Although we've added some example advice options to aid your understanding of the kind of information you might want to include here, it's important that the option you select accurately reflects the service and approach to reviews you've agreed with your client. Therefore, it is likely that you are going to need to customize the advice options displayed in this step to reflect your company's own service proposition. If none of the standard advice options sufficiently reflect the service proposition that you are offering your client, you can simply add your own by selecting Add Advice option. Unlike other advice option windows, the text box in this step is an HTML editor, and as such you can add fully formatted text here. As with other steps, you can also save it to your advice options and reasons library for future use. Account admins of multi-user company plans can also share their options with the other users within their account. If you're using either the Continued Suitability Report or Review Report 2.0 report types, the Service Proposition and Review step will be replaced by the Ex Post Charges Disclosure step and the Review of Service step, both of which are designed to help you comply with MiFID II reporting. In the Ex Post Charges Disclosure step, you can use the drop-down menu to select the method by which you're advising your client of ex post charges. That is, charges that have already been made, as opposed to ex ante, an estimate of charges that have yet to be made. There are 3 options for including charges in the report: 1 option for signposting to external documents, and 1 option to not include ex post charges. The Review of Service step is designed to allow you to demonstrate how the service provided during the review period has added value and delivered good customer outcomes as expected under the price and value outcome of consumer duty. The selected advice options will come out as bullet points in the report. As with other steps, you can also save custom advice options to your advice options and reasons library for future use. Account admins of multi-user company plans can also share their options with the other users within their account. Back to the suitability report now. Next is the client classification step, where you can select from multiple different options depending on how you've classified your client. If you're unsure of which classification is most relevant to your client, this handy hints and tips tool can point you in the right direction. As with the service proposition and review step, the contingency fund and affordability step presents you with a selection of options to choose from. Again, you have the option to edit these, and we would actively encourage you to make these as personal to your client as possible. You can also add your own options and save them to your advice options and reasons library for future use. Account admins of multi-user company plans can also share their options with the other users within their account. It should be noted that a statement regarding the need to maintain sufficient cash reserves will be automatically included within your report, so this detail can be omitted from any customization you input. Having clicked Next Step, you're taken to the Supporting Information step. A lot has been written about suitability reports and the need to control their length and make them more reader-friendly and engaging. The FCA and Financial Ombudsman have both stressed that you don't need to be including everything in your suitability reports, and they have even suggested that it may even be good practice not to do so. However, clearly you do still need to be able to evidence the reasons for your recommendations. But, from a regulatory perspective, this can often be achieved just as well by holding information on a client's file or in a separate document, although it is then good practice to signpost to these documents from the suitability report. And this is exactly what this step has been designed to allow you to do. A number of standard disclosure documents, as well as some of the more commonplace bits of supporting information you may wish to provide to your clients to back up your recommendations, are included as standard. But once again, it's easy enough to add your own options using the Add Advice option feature. The other needs and planning consideration step is only included in the Suitability Report and Review Report 2.0. You can use this step to highlight any other financial needs and planning considerations the client may have, in addition to those already addressed in the report. You can also provide further information about any action, typically not involving a financial product, that you have recommended the client take to address them, or alternatively, to explain why a particular need hasn't been addressed. If you do wish to highlight a specific advice, select it like so. You can then provide further information by clicking the Edit Advice Reasons hyperlink to the right. It is also worth highlighting that if you don't select any advice options, then no reference to other needs and planning considerations will be included in your report. Unsurprisingly, in Next Steps, you can summarize to the client what they can expect to happen next, as per FCA suggested best practice. The final step is Section Complete. On clicking the tick or the link underneath, you'll be returned to the report builder where you'll notice a tick now appears next to the section name to indicate that section is complete. So that concludes this video tutorial on how to complete the important information section. I hope it's proved useful.